Hi, today we will be learning two types of database management system which are SQL and NoSQL. So, what is SQL?
SQL is structured query language, which is a computer language for storing, manipulating, and retrieving data stored in a relational database. SQL is the standard language for relational database system. In a relational database, data is stored in tables, which is rows and columns. As an example, the table below has data in 3 rows and 3 columns. Row known as tuple is a single entity, column represents attribute.
The SQL commands are instructions that we send to the database to get information, manipulate the information or create objects, modify them, and handle the access to the information. For example, data definition language allows to create, alter, drop and database objects. The data manipulation language allows to manipulate the information. You can select, see the information, insert data, update data, delete data, and the data control language contains SQL commands used to handle the security. Last one is TCL, stands for Transaction Control Languages. These commands are used for maintaining consistency of the database and for the management of transactions made by the DML commands.
Structured way to store data, which is query, retrieve, update, create, delete. We have 15 years of experience helping companies like Snuggle Inc., IMAB, CDP Consultants, in achieving their content goals.
Relational database management system first is performs basic functions provided by the hierarchical and network DBMS systems. Second is makes the relational data model easier to understand and implement. Last one is hides the complexities of the relational model from the user.
Relational database keys. Keys consists of one or more attributes in order to determine other attributes. The keys is being used to ensure that each row is unique. Ensure relationship between tables and the data integrity is established. This is type of keys: super key, candidate key, primary key, foreign key, secondary key.
A primary key is the column or columns that contain values that uniquely identify each row in a table. A database table must have a primary key for Optum to insert, update, restore, or delete data from a database table. A foreign key is a field, or collection of fields, in one table, that refers to the primary key in another table. A secondary key is an additional key, or alternate key, which can be used in addition to the primary key to locate specific data. Relationships within the relational database. First is one-to-one relationship. One entity can be related to only one other entity and vice versa. Second is many-to-one, norm for relational databases. Many-to-many relationship, implemented by creating a new entity in one-to-many relationships with the original entities. This popular relational database management system, RDBMS, application, MySQL, Oracle Database, SQL Server, PostgreSQL, MariaDB, SQLite. What is SQL-based RDBMS application? End-user interface. Allows end-user to interact with the data. Collection of tables stored in the database. Each table is independent from another. Rows in different tables are related based on common values and common attributes. SQL engine. Executes all queries.
And what about NoSQL? NoSQL database is a non-relational data management system that does not require a fixed schema, it avoids joins, and is easy to scale. The major purpose of using a NoSQL database is for distributed data stores, with humongous data storage needs. What is NoSQL used for? NoSQL is used for big data and real-time web apps. For example, companies like Twitter, Facebook, and Google, which most of these companies usually collect terabytes of user data every single day. The concept of NoSQL databases became popular among those companies is because the method of scaling out is used to distribute database load on multiple hosts whenever the load increases. As example, imagine there's a building. Scale vertically means adding more floors to an existing building, while in this matter, NoSQL use scale horizontally, which means adding more buildings. You intuitively understand that vertical scaling is only possible to a certain extent, while horizontally scaling is much more powerful. NoSQL databases are mainly categorized into 4 types: key-value pair, column-oriented, graph-based, and document-oriented. Some popular non-relational database systems are Neo4j, Redis, MongoDB, Cassandra, Apache HBase. After understanding both the databases, we will head for the what are the difference between SQL and NoSQL. The first point we will consider is definition. SQL databases are primarily called RDBMS or relational databases. NoSQL databases are primarily called as non-relational or distributed databases. Next point is query language. SQL stands for Structured Query Language, and this is the standard language when we talk about SQL. But when we talk about NoSQL, NoSQL databases have no declarative query language to work it. And then principle each model follow is also a little bit different. SQL follows the ACID model, while NoSQL follows the base model. For the SQL, as it basically means atomicity, consistency, isolation, and durability. So all these are certain principle and rules laid out when you're working within SQL database. But then coming to know NoSQL have something called as the base model. So this base model actually means a basically available soft state and eventually consistent again. This brings us to the next point, that is type. SQL databases are table-based databases from the backbone of this entity, but when we come to NoSQL it includes everything. NoSQL databases can be document-based, key-value pairs, graph databases, and much more. And next point is scalability. SQL databases are vertically scalable and can be stacked on one another, whereas while NoSQL are used horizontally scalable. Next is ideal usage. Ideal of the use case scenario. SQL databases are extremely well suited when it comes to having very complex queries and a very good query-intensive work environment at the same time as well. NoSQL is a little bit backward when it comes to complex queries because NoSQL databases are actually considered where do not have a requirement for all of these complex queries.